Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final part of the AnimatekaPRO platform for professionals and students, organized at Animateka International Animation Festival. We'll have a panel discussion with the title "Animation in Croatia: the State of the Art." Together with me, the participants of this panel are Mr. Christopher Marcich, CEO of the Croatian Audiovisual Center, appointed on 1st of May 2019. Mr. Marcich was born in the USA to Croatian parents. He got a master's degree in international affairs at the Georgetown University. He was assistant US Trade Representative for Europe and assistant US Trade Representative for the environment from 1985 to 1995. President and Managing Director of Europe, Middle East and Asia at the Motion Picture Association from 1995 to 2015, and President of the Board of AGCOA, Association of Audiovisual Producers and Their Rights Management Orgs from 2011 to 2019. With us also Andriana Vidaček, a production manager for Zagreb Film, with extensive experience. Her filmography as a producer listing more than 30 animated short films and made in numerous techniques. As an executive producer, she is currently involved in the production of 12 animated films. New films announced for release in 2012, beginning of 2021. Dry Season Fruits by Dinko Kumanovic, Deer by Bruno Razum, Paradigm by Andrej Rehak, Synchronicity by Tvrtko Karačić, co-production with Bosnia and Herzegovina. Andrijana is also responsible for restoring and preserving the films produced by Zagreb Film in the 60s and 70s, and representatives of the Zagreb School of Animation. The next producer with us is Vanja Andrijević. Vanja is the managing director and founder of Bonobostudio, a company focused on production, distribution, and promotion of animated and experimental films. She has produced more than 30 short films and organized and coordinated various events, promotional activities, screenings, and workshops. She has served as a jury member and a member of selection committee at several international film festivals. Also with us, Draško Ivezić. Draško works in animation as a film director, scriptwriter, producer, and voice performer. He is the founder of Adriatic Animation, a studio for animation based in Croatia. As the studio's producer, Ivezić is responsible for the development and production of animated projects in different formats. As a scriptwriter, he won an award together with Kintis Lundgren for the short film Manivalt at Ottawa International Animation Film Festival 2017. And last but not least, with us also Miljenka Čogelja. Miljenka worked as a journalist before she started making films. After 2009, she first worked as a screenwriter, executive producer, and later as a producer. She has produced films screened and awarded at festivals such as Berlinale, Vision du Réel, Pula Film Festival, Sarajevo Film Festival, Zagreb Docs, One World International Film Festival, Rotterdam, and shown by television outlets like Croatian National Television, ZDF, Arte, and others. Miljenka is also an EAVE 2012 graduate. Hello, everybody. Almost every year at Animateka, we are paying tribute to European national animation history. We started with a historical retrospective of animation in Yugoslavia. During the years, we have organized extensive retrospectives on Portuguese, Polish, German, Spanish, Austrian, Italian, Hungarian, and last on the animation from the Baltic states. At the 17th edition of Animateka International Animated Film Festival, Croatia is a country in focus. our partner in making the Croatia visiting a film retrospective and support to the Croatian professionals taking part in AnimatekaPRO possible is the Croatian Audiovisual Center. And I would like to thank Irena Jelić from the Department for Promotion and Placement for her collaboration. Also, a great thanks goes to the director, Mr. Marcich. A big part of the film retrospective will be screened after the pandemic will be over at the Slovenian Cinemateka Cinema Hall, starting with a program of pioneers from the end of the 50s with 35mm film prints from the Croatian Film Archive. So that's the basic introduction from my side. And I would like to ask Mr. Marcich to give us a greeting first, and then I will give him the first question.
Thank you, Igor. It's a great honor for us to have the focus on Croatia this year. I think this panel will reflect the richness of our animation sector. We have a long tradition in the field, a tradition that we're trying to live up to in these difficult times. So I look forward to hearing and learning from the panelists. And in the meantime, we will have to watch online, but we will certainly come to Ljubljana, to the Cinematek, to enjoy the films live rather than online. So thank you again on behalf of the Croatian Audiovisual Center for the opportunity, and I look forward to the discussions.
Okay, thank you for your greeting. So I have a first question for you, Mr. Marcich. How do you see the situation in the field of animated film production in Croatia? It's a general question, but let's start with a general one.
Well, I mean, generally we have an active animation sector, and we try to promote it as best we can and support it financially. We have in the pipeline 2 feature-length animated films, one to be completed soon and one that will be worked on for several years, 3, 4, 5 years. It's a long process, as we know. But we also support short animateds, and there's a lot of interest from our animation sector, and we try to match that interest with support, financial support, and support in markets as best we can. So it is a priority for us, one that we have neglected a bit in recent years, I think, but one that we're trying to address more energetically, let's say, in the current period. It is a process that takes time, of course, but in the atmosphere of COVID, there is an argument in favor of intensifying support for animation, which relies less on activities that expose the participants to COVID. Mm-hmm. So yes, big priority, a huge tradition to live up to that we're trying to do.
Okay, my second question for you would be, what do you think about Croatia's potential for co-productions in the field of animated short film, animated series, and even feature-length animated films, which we are hearing are in the pipeline, inside and outside the region?
Well, I certainly think that there's great potential for co-productions within the region. One project that we approved recently is in fact de facto a co-production with colleagues in the Czech Republic. We're talking about a film called Kristalni otmičari, which we have great hopes for, but which wouldn't be possible without partnerships with animators from other countries, in this case in the region. Beyond why not, I think that there's a lot of room and need for co-productions in the animation space. For shorts, probably, for feature length, and for series, definitely. And so, yes, it is something that we should look to more, probably more systematically, as we do for feature films.
Okay, thank you for the moment. I will ask now Andrijana Vidaček. Andrijana, how difficult is to keep the production level in the highest possible way, looking backward to the international success and artistic variety of the authors working in the golden years of Zagreb film? Or, as our colleague Chris Robinson puts it in his introductory text to the retrospective, Zagreb Film, in an attempt to take advantage of its international reputation, began concentrating on more commercial work, including television series co-productions with Germany and Canada. The result was that independent films were not given as much priority, and the new generation of animators simply could not maintain the high standards of their predecessors. He was writing that about for a specific historical moment, which like the 80s, the 90s. But still, how difficult is it to be a producer at Zagreb Film with this huge legacy on your back?
Thank you, Igor, for the question. It is quite difficult, I would say, maybe even impossible. But we are doing the best we can, you know. It is very different to work these days if you're an animator than in 40 or 50 or even 60 years ago. As we all know, Zagreb Film was a very big company then, and there was 150 or so animators employed at Zagreb Film and working in the same building, and it was very creative, and it was really fantastic back then. I hear stories all the time, and nowadays with the technology and everything, even if now we have studios, a majority of people want to work at their own homes, you know, they have their own tablets, Cintiqs, and they are just much more comfortable doing their works at home. Because we do mostly short films, and it's you know, author's own view. We try to get the community, you know, the juice is flowing, as you would say, with our projections in Nova Ves, when we try to bring some students and other professionals to see works in their making, and to have everybody look at the films and maybe give some input and their perspective to the authors. So we try to make this more creative and, you know, process for the authors. So we are trying to help them that way. But
okay.
It's definitely a different age now.
So you shortly described this process of workflow in terms of selecting the projects you will produce. If I'm not wrong, you have an artistic director, Simon Bogojević-Narat.
Yes.
And actually, how does like an author approach Zagreb Film? They send in like a...
Thank you for the question again. It's a very good one. We have our own calls for applications 2 times a year. We are making it like 2 months before the Croatian Audiovisual Center has its own call for applications, and we are inviting all authors to submit their projects. Like if Croatian Audiovisual Center has the call for application in March, we have it in January. So all the authors can apply to Zagreb Film with their projects, and Simon Bogojević, our artistic director, Vinko Brešan, our director, and we have a dramaturge, Željko Udovicić, they, and of course me, we select the projects, we go through them, and I think we pick the most promising ones to work on them a little bit and then submit them to the call of the Croatian Audiovisual Center. So that's how it works. It's quite basic.
And you are working with authors from all generations, I would say, also like students finishing the academy. Okay. My last question for you, as the legacy of Zagreb film is almost a national heritage, I would say, for Croatia. So the past should be preserved for future generations. How much energy and money are you spending in the restoration and digitalization of your rich archive?
This is very important for us, and I think for the whole Croatian culture in general. We are very well sponsored by the city of Zagreb and by the Croatian Audiovisual Center at this matter. We are restoring about 3 hours of animated films and also documentaries every year. This is approximately, but something like that. So
it's a maximum amounts to a 3 hour what you can afford for the moment.
Yeah, something like that, yes.
And can you predict when you will be then done with the complete digitalization?
I don't think I can do that, Igor. But I can tell you we have restored and digitalized something like 30 hours of films in the last decade. So, and we are really working on it. It's a slow process. It's a slow process, and the problem is we only have 2 companies in Croatia that are doing this. At Studio and Click Film in Zagreb. And we have also collaborated with a Slovenian company, Igor, he's also called, but...
Iridium Film.
Yes, thank you, Iridium Film, yes. We have collaborated with them also, actually this year or the last. So we are trying our best really to make it as much... You know, it has to just turn out as good as possible. We are also collaborating, of course, with the Kinoteka in Croatia, and we have much help from Vjeran there, who is, you know, checking all the films with us and checking for all the errors and everything. And we are really doing the best we can. But some films are really quite damaged. You know, just some of them are smudged. The colors are not very good, and I don't know. It's really a slow process and it's very complicated. But we're doing the best we can.
Okay, thank you very much. That at least to hear that you are on it and you are doing your best, because every year it's important, and actually the most important part would be like to get the negative prints in different archives, and if they are not there, then it's very difficult, I say. Okay, thank you, Andrijana. We go on and we pass to Vanja. Vanja, how is the situation seen from the part of an independent producer? We could call it a one-woman band almost for you, in terms of possibilities of producing artistic, animated and experimental films in Croatia today. Sound, Vanja.
Sorry. I would say it's quite good. I mean, considering all the circumstances and so on, and especially during this year. But we have huge support from Croatian Audiovisual Center in it. So unlike some other countries, we have a film fund that really supports independent, artistic, even experimental short films. So I mean, it could always be better, of course, but at least we have this institutional support from them, both financial and also in terms of promotion and so on. The only thing that I mean, not the only thing, but one important thing that is missing is support from the Croatian television. Maybe Draško can say a little bit more about it if he wants, but because I'm not that much involved in projects with Croatian television, but this is something that is lacking. But in general, I think it's quite okay. I mean, it's possible to, you know, to work on short animated films. I mean, some people do it, you know.
Maybe it's like it's also we have to say that besides Zagreb film that, as Andrijana mentioned, it came from like a socialist state company. Then, like in the 90s, or better to say, like at the beginning of the new millennium, a number of independent producers started to grow, and I think that you are growing every year. There are more and more. So this should be good for the country, I would say. Do you have like a producers association, producers animator association?
No, we have a producers association, but we don't have animated producers association. We do have ASIFA Croatia. So this is where we, we can gather together and discuss some issues and so on. But and of course, informally, we always meet. I mean, it's a small community. There are not so many of us. I wish there could be more animated producers, especially coming from the academy.
Vanja, what does it mean for you to co-produce? Meaning, when do you decide you want to take part in a co-production project? And just to mention, you did very good. You co-produced Špela Čadež film Boles, which was a Slovenian.
Nighthawk.
Nighthawk, sorry.
Yeah.
Which was a Slovenian, Croatian, German co-production.
No, it was a Slovenian Croatian co-production.
Okay, thank you for telling this. But so if my question is, what does it mean to co-produce for you when you decide to do it?
Well, I'm always looking for co-productions because it's a way to work with more people than I would normally have a chance to work with in our small country. And of course, it's an opportunity to share ideas and experiences and so on, and of course to produce a film finally, in a way that would be much more, better than with just if you do it within your own country. So yeah, I think I see it as an opportunity, for more people to meet and work on it. And this is basically how I choose the projects to work with. The co-production, especially if we are a minority co-producer, because I like to join the project that would, fit something that we work on in general, and I like to work with nice people from other countries. I mean, the animation community in general in the world is not so big, so it's nice to share.
Are you having projects in development right now?
Yeah, one is a co-production even with Slovenia, if I may say, and Italy.
Please.
Yeah. No, I will just briefly mention. And the other one is a Croatian film. I mean, they are still in very early stages of development. We haven't applied for financing yet, but yeah, we do have some ideas. I mean, right now we are more focused on distribution, so we don't have that many projects in production. But yeah, I'm always on the lookout for some interesting projects.
Maybe it's good at this stage that you explain all the possibilities of funding through hubs that you can use while producing a short animated artistic film.
Basically, it's just the production money for major Croatian productions and money for minority co-productions. I mean, for minority co-productions, we have calls four times per year. And for production money, we can apply 2 times per year. We don't have development funds, unfortunately, but hopefully maybe someday we will have that as well for short films. We do have for feature films, but not for short films. And that's it, basically. And of course, we have some support from the city of Zagreb, very little, for independent producers, and from some other cities. If you are based in Rijeka or in Split, then you can apply for those funds as well.
Okay, thank you for the moment, Vanja, and let's switch to Draško. Hi, Draško. I remember when you started your studio, Adriatic Animation, and you were straight away starting with the idea to co-produce films. And in 2014, when you founded the studio, this was not so much a reality yet, right? In Croatia.
It was because Vanja actually started this with her co-productions, and as I remember, it was her initiative to kind of support hubs to bring this, so to offer us that support, right? Because in other countries, you normally, for example, we could not co-produce with Poland now because Poland doesn't have for short films minor co-production, so you cannot actually get that money in Poland, even though Poland has much more money in general for producing. So this is a very good thing, and Vanja started this with her films, and I also saw a few projects she did, like this Father with Kompot Collective, and this gave me inspiration that we could try to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. You are even publishing on your webpage like a call for minority co-productions. Actually, you are saying, please be ready to show that you already have 50% of finances secured before we apply for financing. So it's a constant search for projects from your side, right?
Yeah, we do have we are constantly open for this kind of collaborations because we think it's good for our artists to take part in this kind of co-productions. But also it's good financially because then we can make film with less resources spent in Croatia and still be present on festivals, So this is So I think it's important part of our approach,
Mm-hmm. You already co-produced short animated films, and now I will mention some countries. Maybe you add some, or if I'm wrong, you will say it. With Serbia, Hungary, France, and even with such a prestigious studio as the National Film Board of Canada. Can you tell us more about different ways of working with different countries?
Well, different countries have also different amount of money they put in production, and that's the biggest difference. For example, getting $50,000 in Canada is not the same like getting $50,000 in Croatia, right? So for that money, we could use very little service in the National Film Board, But on the other hand, you can see that they have really big infrastructure. They have 10-member team just for marketing. They have people who are in part for each part of the process, like from recording voices, things which we would never be able to do on our own, right? So that was really good. But then some other studios, like in Hungary, they're also not very experienced, so they're similar like us. So they're trying the market, they're trying with the new directors. In that case, we are very similar. So if we bring only little money, like 20,000 euros, this is already a big deal for them, So that's how we can make even film, which is like 25 minutes, which we pay probably 3 times less from film which we did with Canada, which was 13 minutes. Right.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to add something on the lack of support from the part of the Croatian television, something that Vanja started?
Well, yeah, Vanja mentioned Croatian television. It's a pretty big deal that we are actually not getting this 20 or 30% which we have to raise as producers, because when we apply to HAVC, officially HAVC only supports partially the production. So we producers, we should put in 20 or 30% of our own money. In some other countries like Estonia, you have 2 funds. You have Film Fund and you have Culture Capital Fund, and they usually give each one approximately the same amount of money in the project. And for them, it's not so difficult to raise even 150,000 euros for a short film, right? In Croatia, this kind of amount seems like almost impossible for a short film. And one of the reasons is because there is some big money is missing, you know, and we can see that a lot of money is going in Croatian television, which even has a mandate to finance and produce some sort of animation program on Croatian language. But this is happening very rarely, you know, only recently now they bought one TV series and budgets are really ridiculous, you know. So to that extent, I think Croatian television could step in much more. And I mean, probably this should come from Croatian government or somebody, some initiative, because this is really a big branch, and this money could mean a lot to the whole industry, you know, if it starts to come. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually it would be smart for any television that has a chance to collaborate, because they would buy good content made at home directly doing this. Like this is the way how many televisions in Europe, public and private, actually are working nowadays, becoming even like co-producers of pre-buyers of the projects, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we finished the first round of questions with Miljenka. Miljenka, as House Commissioner for Co-Productions, you were appointed in June this year, if I'm not wrong, for a 2-year mandate. Can you explain how does the call for co-productions works? How much funding can you propose in terms of financial support, and what is the percentage of animated film in the total of the applications sent in? Maybe you reply one by one. I will remind you later about this long question.
First of all, thank you, Igor, for the invitation to participate in this panel. As you said, yes, I'm appointed in June 2020, so it's only 6 months ago. So I will tell about my experience in the last 6 months. So every year, House has announces dates of deadlines for call for proposal. We have usually 4 deadlines, sometimes 3. In 2020, we had 3 deadlines, 3 calls for proposals. And for each year, it's best to follow Croatian Audiovisual Center website, which lists all public calls at the beginning of the next year. So last call for proposals for this year, we closed on October 14th, and the decision making is still ongoing. I had 3 deadlines this year, and usually for making decision about financing, I have 60 days from the closing of the tender, and 15 days after the approval of the selected projects from the Croatian Audiovisual Center Council. All applicants will receive a review of their project, whether the funding is approved or not. First call for proposal for this year was closed on 14th of April, and I had 38 projects altogether submitted, and only one of them was animated film, short animation, and it was not proposed for co-financing. In the next term, I had 3 animated films, of which I choose one, and the one is, the name of the project is Rabbit from a Tin Hat, and it is directed by Ivan Beresh. And it is co-production between Origin Tales from Serbia and Jadranska Animacija. So Croatian co-producer is Draško, who is sitting now together with us on this panel. And now I have only one project submitted.
Mm-hmm. And the maximum amount of funding in the minority co-production, do you have also, like, you have this financial part, or this is, you are only deciding artistically?
I'm deciding artistically. We have financial advisor, and I can discuss amounts with him. But it's not a maximum amount producer proposing overall budget and percentages. Percentages in their financial plan, and I'm trying to meet their requests according to their creative needs. So it's not that I have maximum that I can give them. I'm deciding on the individual project.
Okay, which criterion do you apply when selecting the projects for co-productions?
Of course, most important is creative aspect of the project, relevance of the theme, quality, and dramaturgy of the script, and of course, quality and originality of the visual templates. Then clarity and innovation in director statement and motivation of the director. And it's also very important to me that, which is the case in this co-production with Draško is involved with, is that teams combined together have similar sensibility, and that their cooperation will primarily be creative. Also, it's important distribution potential, of course, of the project. And of course, one of the most important things for minority co-production is reciprocity between countries.
Meaning that actually there should be like a two-way collaboration. So like you actually check for like back in time how many projects were being made with a specific country, right?
It's not that exact, but I'm thinking about that. That we should have strong regional connections and should co-produce together in this region, because it's a kind of territory with the small countries that should be connected together because of the market and because of the talent and in financial terms. But also I'm considering previous co-productions between countries.
Thank you, Miljenka, for this great insight. And actually your words just reminds me about a new project which is called CEE Animation, Central and Eastern European Animation, which is like it's a multi-country task force that is promoting animation film and the industry from the region, and actually they are doing very good. We are collaborating with them with a new label, CE Animation Experience. It will be tomorrow at AnimatekaPRO, and actually their goal is to bring together the industry, bring together the producer, and try to facilitate as much as possible co-productions, exchange of specialized teams, and then also lobbying with governments in order to facilitate, help the development of animation film in the region. Is anybody of you, Draško, Vanja, Andrijana, specifically involved in this CE animation reality? Anybody who wants to say?
Maybe I can start. I'm not really a participant. I was not a participant, but I participated in a way, like as, for example, just recently as a decision maker, and I had some meetings with the participants with their projects, and I was also involved in some panels, also at Animateka last year. That was it, more or less.
But do you think it's important, such a?
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, I was involved a little bit more when, I mean, in the previous reincarnation, if I may say, VAF, Visegrad Animation Forum, and after that, CE Animation was formed. But yeah, this is crucial. I mean, this is a fantastic initiative, and from what I've heard from the participants of the CE animation workshop and forum, it's they really benefited a lot in any way. I mean, even more experienced producers can always learn something new and something more.
Draško, from your side?
Well, I was very active since we started our studio, because from first project we already pitched there, and then we continued to pitch every year, which we now also took part on the same roundtable last year. So I think it's very important to have this, and we support it also with our association here in Zagreb. We are now also going to become like real members of that. So I think it's I don't know, it's a very good networking opportunity, and also it's very good point to learn how countries in our region are also functioning. You know, how are their film funds functioning? What are the limits, or what are the, I don't know, what are the possibilities in terms of talent, in terms of storytelling? So I think this is very good platform for that kind of environment.
Good. And Andrijana, are you co-producing at all with Zagreb Film? Actually, you have a special deal with the academy where you are acting as co-producer of the student diploma films, but otherwise, microphone, please.
Sorry. We've had a very successful collaboration with Studio Neum. We've had you have the film in the program, The Natural Selection. It's been shown at Sarajevo and Annecy this year, and it's been awarded, like it's got 6 awards, and it's been to like 50 festivals. Most of them online, of course, given the year. We don't have as much co-production as Draško and Vanja, of course, but we support the CE animation is a great thing. It's very good for all the producers, of course, and we have been there last year after Animateka. You remember, with Lucia. So we've been to Trebon, and it's been a great experience for everybody. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Marcich, is there anything that you would like to comment on, or some information was misleading, or from your?
No, I don't think any. Of course, nothing was misleading. I think in terms of CE animation, it's likely, if our plans for next year hold, that the Croatian Audiovisual Center will be institutionalizing the cooperation, and indeed we hope to have one of the sessions in Croatia next year, hopefully live with real people there, really together. But it's something that I know our producers support, and we've had encouragement from their side to institutionalize the relationship. In terms of what Miljenka said and all of the criteria she applies, she's of course, a great artistic advisor, very, very comprehensive. In terms of the issue of reciprocity, it's a loose concept. In other words, it's not a one-for-one idea. It's more the idea that Slovenia and Croatia cooperated, and there is some over time reciprocity in projects, so that there is a cooperation. We don't apply a strict formula for reciprocity, and I wouldn't want anybody to think otherwise. But apart from that, no, I don't have anything else to say.
Okay, can I ask you another delicate question, at least for the situation in Slovenia right now? Can you comment on the complete blockage preventing the Slovenian Film Center from receiving financing, and thus driving the national audiovisual sector to despair?
Well, it's truly a terrible situation, very sad. and for many of us, a bit difficult to comprehend. Slovenia has been a partner to many countries in Europe, including Croatia, a partner that we rely on. Your sector is strong, something that the country can be proud of, and the idea that there wouldn't be financial support, that the faucets would be turned off so suddenly and without any obvious plans for the future is incomprehensible and disruptive. Disruptive on a European level, I have to say. We've discussed it with our partners, of course, from Slovenia, but also from other European countries. And everybody is baffled. We've signed, along with our partners, a statement calling on the government to restore financing and to get on with enabling this important sector in Slovenia, and also to be able to continue the partnerships that we've developed over the years. So really baffled is probably the word I would use. It came suddenly without any announcement and very brutally.
Especially during this pandemic time, which is like double brutal, I would say. For you, from your side, are there any special measures that you take and help in order to help the film industry to recover after and during this COVID-caused problems?
Yeah, from the very beginning, as soon as COVID hit and we realized that the extent of the disruption between the government, the Ministry of Culture, and Haft, we took a number of steps immediately to adapt our tender procedures, to adapt our approval procedures. The government stepped in with money for relief, especially to independent workers and cinemas. But for Hafts, we have more recently introduced two programs that go directly to the issue of COVID-related disruption. One is that we provide the opportunity to apply for additional funds to finance COVID-related measures, so masks, disinfectants, additional personnel on set to provide supervision. And that's been working well. We have lots of applications, and we issue approvals expeditiously. The second was something that I'm really proud of, which is that with the help of the Ministry of Culture, we were able to secure an additional 5 million kunas this year to provide what we call dofinanciranje, additional financing, for projects that we have in the pipeline that have already gone through our procedures here and have been approved and to have received a certain amount of money and a commitment for financing from us. And we have allocated between 500 and 600,000 kunas per project to 9 projects that we're paying out as we speak. And with the condition that they have to be able to close their financial construction with that money, so to demonstrate that they will be able to go into production next year. And the condition is that they actually do go into production next year. We think that this has been a good stimulus to production for next year and should put us in a position where the harvest in 2021 will be on a good level. Certainly not what we all hope for, but a lot better than it might have been without this financing. So very happy about that. I think it's a good program. Of course, we can't finance everything, but 9 projects will go forward next year. And those are feature-length films.
Maybe you should just explain 5 million of kuna is approximately 700,000 euro, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mr. Marcich.
It's real money for us. I mean, as you know, budgets in this region are what they are. And, for us, that's a boost of 15 to 20% of the funds we had otherwise allocated from the past, where budgets were on the order. Haft's financing was on the order of 3.5 million kunas to maybe 4.
Okay, I will use the chance to give a last question to all the three of the producers, and even Miljenka, you can say something. Actually, the majority of you is actually producing animated short artistic films. Now we are hearing more and more about animated feature films becoming a reality. Like almost every country has like development of animated feature films. There is much more money for that, but also a lot of much more work, especially for an animated production. On the other hand, animated series is something that is also being developed around Europe, around the world. Not only animated series for children, but also for adults lately. What do you think, each of you? Is it too much of a risk to start like with an idea of producing an animated feature or an animated series with those budgets that we are talking about, and in those situations where we are living? Actually, let's say that still, if we compare ourselves to other countries like France, Belgium, Spain, UK, Scandinavian countries, we are really small. So who would like to comment on the possibilities of developing animated features or animated series like in the near future in Croatia? Andrijana, maybe? Yeah.
Sorry, Vanja, did you want to say something? You're mute. Well, we are developing feature film. Božo is doing it.
I just remember that we say we have to say hello to him, also acting as a commissioner for animation.
Yes, hello to Božo. So Božo is developing a feature film, and hopefully we will get on with the production in a year or two. We'll see. But what I wanted to mention is that we are also, there's a possibility of co-producing a feature film with Slovenia. I'm not sure if I can say anything, but it is now only in a development stage, and with Čogelja.
So,
yeah. So, but with the situation with Slovenian fund, it's currently, shut down. So, but this is what's going on. So, Vanja can say.
Good to hear that there are projects, that are ideas, that are collaborations going on. That development. Yeah. Okay, Vanja, maybe.
Yeah, and I also wanted to mention the project that Veljko Popović is developing right now. He's working on the script, as far as I know, with Pedro Rivero, and I think Dave Cooper from Canada. He's also involved as an illustrator. So I think there is potential, but the problem is we are a small country with not so many animators we do have the Academy of Fine Arts and with the Department of Animation and New Media, but the animators there are mainly specialized in making their own short artistic films. So they are not used to working in big teams, working on the projects with pipelines and stuff like that. And this is something that we should maybe change if we want to produce some more demanding projects like feature films and TV series. One of our colleagues, a producer, is now trying to set up a studio with the equipment and more animators who would be able to produce such projects. But of course, money is always the problem, so we will see. Anyway, we have to.
Can you name your colleague producer?
It's Komarac Ladoskorin, 3D, 2D animators.
3D animator. Yeah.
But co-productions are the only way, to overcome this difficulty.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I remember actually that with this great animated documentary film by Anja Kaufmann, Chris the Swiss, which was completely made in Croatia, but there was like this big problem of organizing the pipeline, which at the end they successfully they managed. So it's not so easy as you explained. Draško, what's going on with your developing animated series for adults? It's still something that you are keeping on it?
Yeah, we are now, we got just recently got money from Creative Europe for development of TV series. And then also we got money in France and Estonia. So altogether is like enough money now that we can prepare really solid documentation. So we're going to be working on it maybe next half a year. We already have animators who are collaborating. So we're now still remotely, but at one point we are moving production in France because now our main partner is Mio Productions, the same company who did Thomas with us. And we are very happy because they are basically pushing the project to the level we cannot, here, because here you cannot get even local money for production of that kind of TV series. So in that, we are really grateful that we have somebody who is able to deal with this kind of project. And then eventually, if money comes for production, then part of the project will be produced in Croatia, of course, because we are counting on talent here, local talent. And this will help our studio also to earn some extra money so we can continue to make short films. Yeah.
Okay, good. So if this is slowly becoming a new reality, organizing like a strong industry part in Croatia. Maybe Mr. Marcich, your plan, the plan of Houts is also the building of a new studio in Croatia. Would there be like a place for animation in that studio as well, if it comes to the conclusion?
Yeah, we definitely hope to build a studio and to have a studio built in Croatia in the next 2 years. We've had some market analysis done by outside experts, Olsberg in particular. The demand seems to be there, and the assumption is that it would be all inclusive, certainly include animation, but also the gaming sector. So the investment would come very heavily from the private sector. The market seems to warrant it. We're working on plans with a consortium that's looking at it to see if to make sure that we're able, in fact, to ensure that we can house and have space for Croatian productions, whether animated or otherwise. So for us, that's a major condition. The work is going on, and at the moment it seems promising. A location has not been chosen yet, but I hope the investors will choose one soon, so that we can produce more. We're also, my colleague who's in charge of the media program here in Croatia is looking to secure matching money for funds that we get from Creative Europe, so Draško's program. We hope to be able to we need to match the support that's gotten from Creative Europe to promote those productions. We're working on that. I'm confident that we'll be able to do that. And yeah, in terms of feature films, I would just say that we do have at least 2 that I know of that I'm involved with in the pipeline, one of which should be done. We just extended the agreement, but I think within the next year or so, we expect that one to be completed, and one is just getting off the ground. So action there is.
Okay, actually, just maybe to mention, talking about Croatian features, we are presenting one at this year Animateka, and it's a very special one made by Dalibor Baric. It's his feature debut film. It's an experimental animation, and actually Dalibor showed to everybody that actually with a lot of talent, a lot of energy, it could even like an animated feature film can be like a small team work. Okay, as I said, it's a specific film that he collaborated with a lot of actors, a lot of like sound designers. But on the other hand, I think that a country should be proud also of productions like that are being selected to important festivals, and even if they're not so much commercial, they're showing the variety and health of the system that is functioning in one country. And as at the end of this discussion, I think that we could say that Croatia is a very healthy and very organized country in this moment regarding the development of the audiovisual sector. And I would just wish that here in Slovenia we will soon follow those paths, even though when something is destroyed, it's very, very difficult to rebuild again and to build it properly. Even though I think that what you have, it's also a very important thing. You have a law on audiovisual industry, while in Slovenia here we don't have such a law. We have a law on the film center. So we will have to fight for in the future to change this and just to approve a new law that will keep us going and keep us being able to follow everything that the digital future brings to us. Is there anybody who wants to have like a final conclusion word or a special thought or anything? Maybe Miljenka, you were not talking so much. Microphone.
I can only say for the end that co-productions are a kind of theme of this panel, that this is co-productions are kind of possibility to empower producers in these risky times and in the risky projects, and that can unite them financially, creatively, and in terms of markets. So let's co-produce.
Should we end with those words? Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So thank you very much, Mr. Christopher Marcich, Vanja Andrijević, Draško, Ivezić, Andrijana, Vidaček, and Miljenka Čogelja for your live intervention to the first day of AnimatekaPRO. As Mr. Marcich said, I'm sure we will see each other next year, 2021, in cinemas, because like a big part of the retrospective Croatia visiting will be screened in cinemas. So it will be my pleasure to host you in a real space on a real time. I hope that we will collaborate more, that this situation, political and pandemic, will end soon. Thank you again from the heart for your time, for your intervention, for your work, for keeping Croatian animation alive and kicking, as we say. And for everybody else, let's see each other live again at 5 o'clock Slovenian Central European time, when we will have like a live discussion with the authors in the European Young Talents program. I will host it with my co-selector and co-programmer Anna Sturm. And then at 8 o'clock with the discussion with authors in the main competition program, hosted by Chris Robinson from Ottawa International Animated Film Festivals and yours truly. Thank you very much again, and have a great day, and let's be strong and see you very soon. Bye bye to everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye. Ciao.